right. I'm not a fan of double headers. You know what I mean by that? Where we have two motions, because it looks like one's filed by Ms. Norman and the other one's filed by Mr. Haran. And one is for custody and one is for parenting time. I just want to point something out to both of you. This is the third motion now we have heard lately. Is this the kind of thing I'm going to be to expect from both of you?
I hope not, Your Honor, and this is actually the first one I've personally filed.
Well, go ahead, Ms. Norman. You can go first because you have a motion for custody. The last custody order was August 27 of last year. I mean, the ink's not even dry on it. You're requesting you be given sole legal custody as you're the only one who handles all those big decisions like medical, dental, education. So my first question to you, Ms. Norman, is why? Why doesn't Mr. Haran participate in those major decisions?
I don't know. I've honestly always been the primary caregiver to the kids, and he has the same access through my chart, through the Brookville Pediatrics of Internal Medicine. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have stated all that. He has all the same access to me, to them as me, but he just doesn't. And whenever I try to ask about the insurances, the vision, the dental concerning anything, it always seems to be an issue. So I figure with legal custody, if I've already been doing it and I'm continuing to do it, I still give him all the information and he has access at any time for any of the information. He's allowed to go to any of the doctor's appointments, bring him to the hospital at any time. He can go to any of the counseling appointments, anything, but he doesn't. And for the most part, he's never really done it.
So why now? Why do you bring this to me now if he's never done it before?
Because it's primarily given 50-50 for both physical and legal. Or And so that's just how the divorce was written. By the end of the divorce, I just kind of gave up fighting. I had the lawyer, the year was coming up. It needed to be finished in order for child support to even be start. And I was hoping things were going to change, but it's not.
So
It's not
now
just
that you don't have a lawyer and now we're past a year, you're ready to fight about everything now, right?
I'm not. I'm just trying to make it easier to get my kids' care taken care of.
Has it affected how you get care? I mean, um I mean, have you been dissuaded in any way from doing this by Mr. Haran?
It's making everything so much harder. So, like the walk-in dental clinic, he is stating that they had the insurances. Our last court meeting, he was supposed to put their insurances on it. It's just a text saying they said that it'll start on December 1st. So then when I had to bring her to the emergency dental, then he's saying, well, you can just look it up. I go down to the walk-in clinic. They're trying to look it up. They're stating that they don't have, it's hard to look up the commercial insurance, whatnot, and then come to find out that they didn't have the insurance. Um, it just makes everything so much difficult. And when you go into even schools and stuff, you need, with the divorce, they ask who has legal custody. When it's 50-50, then they want, I don't know, I guess joint decision making, and I list them with
Yeah,
everything.
that's what legal custody is not like physical custody. Legal custody doesn't have any bearing on where kids live. Legal custody is based upon um, both parents having joint decision-making power. And that's why it's written the way it is. So why don't you participate in these things, Mr. Haran?
Half the time I'm not fully aware of all of their doctor's appointments or whatnot. She'll let me know, yes, they have it coming up tomorrow or, at the beginning of that week, and it's just too short a time for me to get the time off with my employer. So it makes it difficult. And then a lot of the appointments she schedules are around her schedule, obviously, since she has the kids primarily. And I'm a second shift worker, so if she takes them after school or whatnot, I'm already at work. That's why she's kind of done it for the majority of their lives, or most of the appointments, because typically I am a second shift worker, and it would it's availability in the doctor's schedules as well.
So is this something you think you should still have?
The decision of having the right to make those decisions,
Yeah,
yes, I do. And actually, that was something that Judge Gottlieb had said that's why it's wrote in the JOD the way it is, because she didn't feel like there was any reason why I shouldn't be able to make legal decisions for my kids.
Gottlieb is not here.
I
I'm
get
here.
that.
And I'm not asking if I'm going now by a body of work. I mean, Judge Gottlieb didn't really have much to go on at the divorce. But I'm going on a body of work, which it looks to me anyway, that that you're not really interested in all this going to doctor's appointments and going to dental appointments and all this kind of stuff, but we'll find out.
I would be more than happy to bring my kids if she schedules them in the morning when I have the ability to do so, or at least gives me notifications, that way I can request the time off from work.
Yeah,
I
but
have no problems in participating.
that's not how it works. They don't, doctors, you work around you try your best to work around everybody's schedule, but what do you think's going to happen when it comes down to availability? I mean, the custodial mother and the kids and the doctor, or they're going to postpone things for you. I mean, have you ever talked to their doctor?
Yes, I have many times actually. When they were, I don't know if they are still with the same primary, because Miss Norman had discussed switching it. That was our entire family primary. I went to a good portion of those visits actually.
Okay.
Judge, the only reason I was gonna switch it is when they didn't have their insurance, and because they didn't, when your grandfather clocked with the Medicaid, you can stay in, but when you lose it, then they have to see where it's at or something like that. And that was the only time. Everything is still the same except for the dental, because 2 of them are now out of pediatric. All 4 are now in or starting the trauma therapy. And that's why I had to change a job. Again, I do there's only so much you can do in order to switch the appointments. I was awarded the Pine Rest Patient Fund so my kids can continue the therapy without my out-of-pocket costs, which was the primary reason like why there was a little bit of inconsistency in which children had the trauma therapy and the others didn't. So I've had to go to family outreach. I have to go to their schools during the school hours. I'm trying to work my jobs to fit around the kids' schedule. They don't offer, they don't, I don't know, there's a lot of people in counseling and doctors and dentists, like everything is scheduled so far out. It's hard to try to maintain always within what hours.
Let me ask you this. Why, I get this, I get that issue. That's a very important issue. But then at the same time, I'm being asked to decide where the pickup and drop off point for your parenting time is. Do you really need a court to tell you that?
Apparently, we're having a little bit of discrepancies in how we interpreted the JOD.
What did your lawyer say?
I didn't have representation. She did.
What does your lawyer say now?
Mine?
Yeah.
I don't have a lawyer right now.
Hey, let me explain something to you. If you have a question about how to interpret the tax code, you go to an accountant. You want a question on how to interpret the Bible, you go to a priest or a minister or somebody in that area. Why is it that you have a question on how to interpret a legal document and you just bring it in here? I mean, did you try and run it past an attorney to figure out what it says? Because who's the one that moved? Who moved?
Who, what? I'm sorry.
Wasn't it you who moved?
It was, yes, because I had to sell the mutual residence.
Yeah, I get it. So you had to move. So now you guys are working on another pickup and drop off, and you need me to tell you what that is?
I'm just tired of always driving all the way up there, and it's, there's no halfway point. She's driving 3 to 5 miles where I'm driving 45 to 50 miles.
You didn't
So I
take
mean, that's all I'm asking for, is if we can get something set that's a little bit more of a halfway point rather than,
Miss Norman, your thoughts, please.
I went to legal aid and she interpreted it that I'm fine with continuing to go to the Wyoming Police Department. She said that it's not properly stated in there. I tried going to legal aid of West Michigan to get a custody lawyer to help us with these. They said our case is not high priority enough, like the divorce was. So I had gotten the lawyer then, but then that was just a divorce lawyer. And then I just can't afford an out-of-pocket lawyer.
Folks, this is only going to get complicated further down the line. It's only going to get worse for you two. See, I mean, I, I don't really understand if, you know, I know how you both are looking at this because you look at it somewhat like everybody else looks at it. He's the one that moved, so he's the one that should be driving. I get that. My concern is your kids. How long do they got to sit in a car? That bothers me. And what bothers me also is, wasn't there a request that this take place in at a police department? Did somebody request that?
I did, yes.
Why in the world would I want to have a pickup and drop off at a police department where every day, every time the kids are there, they see police officers running around, and then they get the impression that the only way mom and dad can coexist in the same ether is when police are around. Is that a message that you're comfortable sending to your kids? Because I'm not.
I wish life were different, but it honestly makes us feel safe. We're on surveillance. All of the past, it was with the police department. They've helped us numerous times. I do feel safest there. Um, and I did attempt the PPO too, and they said it's mainly custodial because our address is supposed to be confidential, and it's not anymore. He knows our address.
This divorce case was finalized in 2024. And I have about reached my fill on this. And pretty soon I'm just going to send everything to the front of the court and redo everything. And maybe neither one of you will get legal custody. I don't know. Because I'm starting to get extremely frustrated about the apparent lack of ability to figure things out yourself and just absolutely when generally here's the deal. When somebody moves, it's usually them. It's on their dime. Okay. And I only like police departments for a little while, Miss Norman. I don't think you can't send that message to your kids all the time. If you two are in a situation where you cannot be in the same atmosphere, then you need somebody bringing kids and transporting them by other people, because I don't like the message that this is sending. Okay, because it's sending a bad message. I'm not saying that there might not be a need for it. I don't know. I don't. I've only met you two recently, but I've met you two far more than I should be. These are a lot of issues. You should be doing it. Now, if it were just strictly you two, I wouldn't have any compunction whatsoever. But it is your kids who have to now sit in cars going back and forth and back and forth. And if I can alleviate some of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is both of you must enroll in our family wizard within the next 14 days. That is a computer platform that have an app you put on your phone, and they have financial assistance on it. So if you generally, I've talked to the guy who built it, and generally speaking, if there is a Medicaid Medicaid card, they generally will waive it. And that's where we're going to put on the doctor's appointments and all that stuff. And then both of you can access it. I am going to send the issue of legal custody to the front of the court because I want them to take a look at what's going on here. I'm not going to, there's a fee for that, but I'm going to pay it because I'm sure I'm going to be asked to pay it. And I don't want anything to stand in its way. So we'll take a look at legal custody and see if it should stay the way it should. As far as the parenting time is concerned and the pickup and drop off, I don't want these kids in a car any longer. So from Goebel's, your house is approximately 50 miles, 50. The pickup and drop off will now be the Gun Lake Tribal Police, and that's off exit 61, US 131. That's where it will be. It has to be at a police department. That's where it's going to be. And that will be the pickup and drop off. Tribal police, you are on tribal land, so they have absolute authority, just like any police officer. I want our family wizard enrolled in the next 14 days. And I want both of you to take this to heart. I have heard nothing from either one of you which would give me any optimism that somewhere down the line you're going to be able to work these things off yourself. I don't have any optimism whatsoever. So what that means is you both should consider a parent coordinator who can act as the middle person between you two. And they're expensive, but until you two can put whatever behind you, it's not going to happen. You guys are going to be back here every other week, and you're both too good of people for that. I don't want to keep imposing this directive. So I need you, Miss Norman, to prepare an order. They'll show you how to do that on the 5th floor Legal Assistance Center. Granting your motion to reopen legal custody, I will do the referral to the front of the court with no fees. The second part of the motion, or second provision of the order, is the parties will enroll in our family wizard within 14 days with the tone meter, and must be checked every 12 hours and promptly responded to. And the last one is that the pickup and drop off will be at the Gun Lake Tribal Police Office, which is off of exit 61 from US 131. You prepare that order. I'll wait till the front of the court tells me what their recommendation is for your legal custody. And when we get their investigation or recommendation, we're going to have to either make a plan. That's either going to be it, or we're going to move forward, or we're gonna have a big, long trial on this. But I'm disappointed that it appears anyway, that people are coming into me now because they don't have or wanted to raise these issues at trial, but decided not to. And then, in essence, sentenced both of the parties and the kids, I might add, to a lifetime now of post-judgment motions and this type of stuff. And what I want most for these kids and what I want most for you is peace. Okay? Peace. Got divorced. It didn't work out. I regret it. But you two need to move on. And you have kids, so you can't just wash your hands out of it. But you guys you owe it to your kids. If nothing else, you owe it to your kids to respect the person that also put them on this earth and at least be able to have some sort of a civil conversation involving them. Don't talk about anything else. Anything else is none of each other's business anymore. Talk about the kids. You know how to do that order, Miss Norman?
I don't. You said to go to the 5th floor and then ask to reopen legal custody?
The Legal Assistance Center is a self-help office. They're not attorneys, but they are very knowledgeable people who can help you. And they will help you prepare an order of all the things I said today. That legal custody will refer to the friend of the court, the new pickup and drop off, and the Our Family Wizard stuff. Okay?
And then Judge, so do we just delete app close now and then download the Family Wizard?
App close is very limited, and it's also been frowned upon by the state bar because it is not secure, apparently. So I've been steering away from that totally, because I don't want anybody's personal information, or worse, the kids' information, to be on the dark web. Okay.
And then I know you said you don't really want to see us again. So then can I just
No, that's
ask?
not what I said. I said I don't want to get in the middle of your disputes again. I'd love to see you two. I'd have a beer with either one of you. The problem is you never asked me how to do that. You asked me to get in the middle of these little things that you can do. But go ahead. I don't want to see you. That's my job to see you. I just want to see you guys in a different atmosphere. Go ahead.
How do I, so it was stated that he's supposed to have the sober track and it's supposed to be attached to the program. He just uses the breathalyzer with the video, so it's not being uploaded to anything. Can I do the enforcement for that to be done so it's being tracked?
Was that through app close?
That's through the judgment of divorce.
No, that's a whole separate thing. That's with SilverLink.
Yeah, he's supposed to
Okay.
be monitoring his alcohol usage monitored, but he's not
every
doing it
order,
how stated.
unless I changed it today, every order has to be complied with. So if that's what the judgment says, that's what it says.
So then do I wait for him to do that before he gets his parenting time, or because I've been
No.
letting him eat, so I
No.
still have to send him?
You have to abide by the court order too. But I will tell both of you, I enforce court orders. And if that court order says you got to have I don't have your judgment in front of me. If it says that, you abide by it. And if you're not abiding by it, then Ms. Norman can bring a motion to me, and I may have to do something I don't want to do. But until courts change things, everybody's got to follow these orders. But do you see why I'm not optimistic on this? Because I can't even get you off the call on these issues when you raise 5 more.
So on that though, I did have issues downloading the app to my phone. My phone is not compatible with the needed app.
They get one
so I-
that does.
So I did contact her lawyer while she was represented by her and asked if I can just send it, if I can take the selfie video. It still has me using a breathalyzer unit. It still shows that I am doing my breathalyzer as I'm supposed to, and then email them. And her lawyer said she doesn't see any reason why that would be an issue.
First of all, her lawyer should not be giving you legal advice. Second of all, that issue isn't in front of me. I will tell you this right now. The world we live in, phones better start being able to download things. So, yeah, all I can tell you is this. That's an option too. Get a new phone. Very simple. I mean, you guys can figure this out yourselves too. But that's not in front of me, you two. Let's find out what we can do now. And really, come on, let's get it together. All right? Kids are important to me. I know they're not as important, probably you think they're not as important to me as they are to you. And that's the way it should be. You're their parents. When you put them on this earth, folks, and it's your job to make this work no matter how you feel about one another. Really, that's the job you signed on for. Okay? You both signed on to that the minute you had children. That you said, look, I don't care what happens to you and me, but I care what happens to our kids. That's the only person I'm interested in this. You two are adults. You can figure it out. Don't make your kids have to have 2 wedding receptions because you two are at each other's throats. Come on. Do better. Okay?